Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. The United States Department of Agriculture reports 88% of farms in this country are small family farms, and over a third of those farms are owned by women. The University of Vermont Extension Women's Agricultural Network, WAGN for short, has been providing education and technical assistance for women farmers since 1995. One area of farm business that WAGN emphasizes is the importance of record keeping. Paperwork pales in comparison to growing food or raising animals, but it's vital to keeping the farm on track and in the black. UVM Extension has teamed with University of New Hampshire Extension to teach a course for women farmers. Across the Fence's Keith Silva visited a farmer who took the course.
Watch Kate Osgood feed an apple or give some well-appreciated belly scratches to her boar Brewster, and it's easy to recognize a born farmer, even if she didn't start out that way.
My background is in international fashion merchandising, and I have an MBA in organizational behavior and management. So cleaning up poop was not part of my training.
Osgood and her family moved to Sanborn, New Hampshire in 2016. Within the year, she had discovered a passion for raising food for her family. And before long, Birchrise Farm was born.
I am the type of person who, if I see it, I'll just go for it. And, oh well, if there's risks, but that's part of learning. And so let's embrace any challenge that comes up to us.
The first thing Osgood learned about farming was she had a lot to learn.
My husband grew up with pigs, so he decided that, we should look into pigs. So we got every book on Amazon that we could find about pigs and just started taking the time and started reading. It's a lot of research, and don't be afraid to pick up a book again. Google doesn't have everything.
Along with pigs, Osgood keeps chickens, sheep, and turkeys. The animals are pasture-raised and sold as either meat or breeding stock. She sells her products at farmers markets and through her farm stand. Because Osgood breeds Berkshire pigs, a registered breed, she maintains careful records on when the sows will give birth, what's known as farrowing. Thankfully for Osgood, there's an app for that.
Here we go. It's called Gestate. It's Gesdate. There's a whole bunch of information that you can bring up. Date of birth, last heat cycle that they had, anything that really helps you calculate the dates of when they'll go back into heat. It has a breeding calculator, so if I say, okay, they bred on June 27th, it'll give me the exact day, not only to test them to make sure that it took, which is the next heat cycle, or approximately when they'll have the litter.
Osgood uses QuickBooks to track orders and sales and to keep customers up to date on the production schedule.
They order their pork from me. I take a $100 deposit. Then the first email goes out with their cut sheet. Okay, this is your cuts. I need to have it by this date. Deadlines are very important as well. That's a part of record keeping. So I usually do a spreadsheet for the pork sales, and it says, okay, this is the person's name, email, phone number. This email went out, this email, and all the check marks of things that happened, so that I can, at the end I can say, oh, well, I missed an email to them. That's on me. That's not on them.
Osgood also uses spreadsheets as a tool for pasture management.
In the spreadsheet, we actually will put which pastures we're using. In the barn, I have a whiteboard system where I've labeled out the pastures. We have them labeled by number. And then in the spreadsheet, it kind of says who we have on each paddock right now. Also down to when it was last seeded, and then the next time I believe that somebody should be on there. Obviously growth of grass and the alfalfa and clover in it will vary, so that's an approximate date.
Osgood admits her record keeping in regards to pasture management is a work in progress.
So one thing that we didn't do last year is we didn't seed the pastures when we needed to, and doing record keeping, much more detailed record keeping that I am doing now, will help us to really eliminate that risk of not being able to put anybody on the pastures. So for example, this past farrowing spring, where we would have liked to keep about 10 pigs for ourselves and raise them on pasture and then have them ready for consumers more towards October or November, which is great cash flow in for us. We didn't have that option because I didn't have the paddock space. So what we did is I just sold all of the piglets that we had and had to rest the paddocks. So that's about $1,000 to $1,200 a pig. So that's cash that we don't have on hand now this year.
To better manage pasture and for other technical and business advice, Osgood enrolled in Women in Livestock Business, a course offered by the University of New Hampshire Extension in partnership with the University of Vermont Extension.
What have you got growing in there right now?
Kelly McAdam teaches the course.
So UNH Extension has been offering programs for specifically women farmers for a few years now. We noticed that a lot of our women in the programs were livestock farmers, and also telling us about issues they face that seem more particular for them than for their male counterparts. Things just like trying to go to a processor to have a conversation and that being very difficult for them. We covered topics anywhere from financial record keeping to business topics, also like, what type of structure should I have for my business, whether it's a LLC or something like that. So it was really like an A to Z when it came to the livestock production and the business side.
The Women in Livestock Business course provides participants with reliable, evidence-based knowledge, not to mention a ready-made community of peers.
You can go to YouTube and you can learn about farrowing and you can watch, but is that actually how it should be done? Is that the best way for the animal? Is that the best way for the product in the end? So I feel like we can provide that unbiased, research-based information that farmers can rely on. Women have left our workshops saying, this program changed my life. And so that's very telling about, here's an extension program and it has that much impact that someone who who aspires to farm, make a living off of it, can do that, and they gain confidence in themselves. They also build this network of other women farmers. So many of them, like Kate, have visited each other's farms, they have stayed connected with each other. So they're learning from each other, and it's just creating such a rich knowledge base for each one of them.
Osgood allows it's going to take time for her farm business to turn a profit. So far, she's learned to plan ahead and manage expectations.
Get your plan in place, forecast a bit, because just kind of going in willy-nilly, you're going to make a lot of mistakes that sometimes can be very detrimental to yourself and your business. Don't expect to, have a moneymaker right away, but do it for the customers that you're getting, that when they come back and they say, this chicken was the most amazing chicken that I've had, or that Thanksgiving turkey really, lit up the family's day, they really enjoyed it, thank you so much. That's your payment, that's your reward in the beginning, not any money that you got from that one turkey that you sold.
Thanks to a can-do attitude, careful record keeping, and expert advice, Kate Osgood has established a farm business that makes her feel at home. In Sanborn, New Hampshire, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
Since we met Kate, she's become quite a celebrity in New Hampshire. One of her turkeys, Joanna, was pardoned by the New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu at Thanksgiving. The word is Joanna has settled in and is happily living out her days at Birch Rise Farm instead of being on a turkey table. So Mary Peabody is joining me today. Mary is the director of the Women's Agricultural Network, a UVM extension specialist, and community resources and economic development. Welcome so much. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
So, great thing. So, when people, what's the most common question that is asked when people enroll in your course?
So, well, the most common question we get is, where can I find a grant to start a farm? And the answer is probably that you're not going to find one. Right. But the second most common question that we always get asked is, can I really make a living doing this, or is this just a pipe dream?
Right. And I also imagine they really want to just do their thing. They want to farm. They don't really want to worry about the books. But can they make a living?
Yes, yeah, and you're right. You're absolutely right. People do not come to us because they want to learn about spreadsheets and charts and planting scenarios. They want to get out and have their hands in the dirt and on the ground.
Right.
So yes, you can make a living. You just have to be very strategic in your planning.
So how do you, you know, even, you know, this farmer talked about you might not make a profit right away. At what point do you know you are, or you need to shift? How do you make that judgment?
Yeah, so well, we differentiate between making a profit, which is, you know, making a little bit more money than you spent on your costs, and making a living. And so we work a lot with people on what are your financial expectations for this business, and really setting some concrete goals about like how much is enough, what do you need to make in a given year, and then we build a plan that's going to get you there.
Right. Okay. So what, you know, before signing up, what's the best advice that you can give somebody who's interested in doing this?
I always say, make your mistakes on paper. It's cheap, it's not very anxiety producing, and you can go through an awful lot of plans pretty quickly until you find one that you really start to feel is resonating with you.
So in the course, you help people go through those plans. What's it
Exactly.
really going to cost? What's it really going to look like?
How much
what
time
makes
is it going to
sense?
take?
Can
Yeah.
my farm deal with this?
Can my family live with me if I do this?
Okay. Well, thank you so much. To get more information and learn more about the course from the Women's Agricultural Network, you can visit the website, uvm.edu/WAGN or wagon, or you can call 802-476-2003. Mary Peabody, thanks so much for coming in and talking to us about this course. It's fabulous. And that's our program for today. Thanks for joining us on Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard.